Roman Travers, Magic Talk.
Divorce and separation. Divorce to me sounds like a disease, doesn't it? It sounds horrible. I cringe and my toenails curl up. It's been described as being similar to a tornado. It can rip through your home with the potential to destroy not only every aspect of your life, but also disrupting the lives of everyone connected with you. And someone who knows all about this is an expert in divorce coaching, Bridgette Jackson from Exes. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Roman. How are you?
I'm okay. I am okay now. It's been 6 years since I went through this process myself, and it is a horrible, exhausting process, isn't it?
It is. Well, you and me both. I've been at this 6 years ago myself too. So yes, it's at the top of the stress continuum for people. And, you know, what I think is that getting divorced is really time-consuming and detail-oriented, just as it is tying the knot. So if people get wedding planners, you know, it's not a far leap to think that people should actually engage divorce coaches.
So what would I get by engaging one?
Well, you will. What would happen is that a divorce coach pretty much is your sounding board. They hold your hand. They're their thinking partner as you go through the divorce process, because divorce is a very long process, and the coach goes along for the ride. We're not there for giving you legal advice or therapy, but it's about creating a safe, supportive, non-judgmental and patient environment for you. So it's helping you take the high road and make the best possible decisions for you, for your future and for your family based on your wants and your needs and concerns.
I was reading a story yesterday about Matthew McConaughey, whose parents separated and remarried several times and divorced a few times as well. He's a well-known person, and you don't have to be well-known to have lived through this stuff, but is a lot of this avoidable? Is it someone like you that would say, actually, guys, you're being really stupid and we can fix this?
Yeah, absolutely. What is really encouraging in my practice that I'm finding more and more people are actually wanting to be amicable and rather go through a long process with lawyers, you know, backwards and forwards with letters. They're happy to do an informal mediation. So sit down and be amicable and work it out, whether that's in relation to their relationship property or their custody issues. You know, I say to clients, look, you know, you want to be able to look back in 5 years and go, I really acted in my best self when I was going through this process for the sake of me and the sake of my partner and also of the children and the wider family. Because it can be extremely traumatic, and we are here because not all cases are amicable. I deal with a lot of high conflict situations. I loved conflict because I love minimising it. And it's a very harrowing experience, and you really need the guidance and support of a highly trained divorce coach. You know, the reason I set up this business to help others is because, you know, my high conflict case took 5 years to settle, and I've got 4 children, and I don't want people to go through the same scenario that I went through, and the emotional toll is massive, and it doesn't have to be this way, Roman. Let's turn the negative into a positive.
Gee, that sounds easy. Bridgette, look, let's be honest though. When you go into a situation either with someone like yourself, a divorce coach or a counsellor or a lawyer, often someone already they've made the decision, they've decided that the 23-year-old secretary at work is the future and that their 50-year-old partner isn't. So how hard is it to pull people together when someone has already checked out mentally from that relationship?
Well, I mean, I say to clients, you know, you've got to have no regrets. Give it every single go you can, you know, whatever you need to do, couples counselling. And if you're not able to do it, I mean, I only work with amicable couples. You know, I work with individuals who are going through high conflict situations. So, you know, really, if one person's checked out, it's like an analogy. You know, a relationship's a living entity. It's not two people existing, you know, individually. It's the relationship as a whole. And if one person's only willing to make the relationship work, then that's not, you know, that's certainly not going to happen. So then we talk about moving from their story of divorce as an individual to the business of divorce and ensure that they get the enhanced financial outcomes that they require to move forward and have a new beginning. And obviously, if they've got children, they are able to have a co-parenting relationship with their parents, but also acting in the best interests of their children. You know, that's really important.
One thing I heard a lot of through the whole lockdown process was either one of two things. You realise that you really love this person you don't see very often and how lovely it was to be locked down. And scenario two was, oh my God, I really hate you and I can't wait to divorce you.
Right.
What did you see through lockdown?
Well, there has been at least a 25% increase in divorce and separation over the last few months, and that's coupled with all of the other issues, losing jobs. Mental health has gone up hugely. I spoke to my father in Melbourne yesterday, and he said to me, mental health has gone up 70% in Melbourne,
Gee.
which is not surprising. So, yeah, it's just... There has been some positive. I've had some clients over the last little while who have actually decided to stay together. And that's fantastic. That's a really wonderful outcome. Where I really want to ensure, because a lot of people come into me to see me and they're crying, and I want to ensure that they walk out smiling, whether that's together or whether that's apart.
I didn't know it was possible to cry and have so much snot flowing as what I had through the whole process. Honestly, quite horrible, but very, very true. So,
It's very true.
so how important is it to, and I'm asking this because I know personally how important it is to have some sort of relationship moving forward from the point of separation, especially if you've got children, right?
Absolutely, without a doubt. Now, it's very important. Unfortunately, there is a rise on parallel parenting as opposed to co-parenting. So parallel parenting terms, really what it is parents that actually work in silos. So they haven't got an amicable relationship, and they actually really don't communicate together, unfortunately. And sometimes these co-parenting just doesn't happen for whatever reasons. There's so many reasons. And so you just have to manage that as best you can and make sure that boundaries are being adhered to. And communication is really huge, Roman. I do a lot of coaching about how to communicate with your toxic ex. What sort of strategies can you employ? Remembering that you can't change somebody else, but you can change the way that you interact, the way that you communicate with people. None of this passive and being aggressive, but being assertive is really important. So there's a number of strategies that I utilise that people are able to use in their relationships moving forward.
Often people want to attribute blame so they can tell a story that shows that they are blameless in a situation. How important is it to own your stupidity? If you had started fiddling with the 25-year-old secretary at work, for example.
Yep. Well, it's very important, but it does take a lot. Some people just won't own it, full stop. But then there are a lot of people who actually do, after a certain amount of time, are able to actually own it. And that's part of working with me, working through all those sort of issues, because realising that a relationship breakdown is not based on one person. It's based on both members, both parties in the partnership.
Yeah.
Not just one-sided. It never is. There's always, even if how people react to each other. That's, for example, you can make changes in that respect. But I'm certainly not pro-divorce by any stretch of the imagination. I just really love people to actually give it a go, have no regrets, make sure that they make every effort to make that relationship work before they walk away and potentially have regrets.
Oh, absolutely. The one thing I wish I could get through to people, and you probably do it quite frequently in your job, is that the grass is not always greener on the other side. It's just grass and it still needs mowing.
Well, that's right, absolutely. And one of the issues that I've found too, which I'm working on at the moment, developing a program, is unfortunately there's a lot of people, particularly women, who are financially illiterate when they come out of these relationships. And that is something that I'm developing a financial package in relation to that at the moment, because that is a massive issue for people, which really stops them moving forward. They haven't managed the finances in their relationship, and they've got no idea. So that is something. There's many issues that I have seen with this business that need to come out in the open and be talked about and reviewed and dealt with a different way.
Bridgette, it's been wonderful talking with you about this horrible topic, which we need to talk about more. How would people find you if they wanted to get you involved as a divorce coach?
So my website is Exes, EQUALEXES.com, or they can give me a call on my mobile, which is 021 895 032, or they can email me, which is Bridgette, BRIDGETTE, at equalexes.com. Strategist.com.
Oh, great. And it's a great thing to do. Do it now before it's too late, before the wheels really fall off and you've got to work out who gets the Bichon Frise and who gets the flat screen TV. It's just ugly. Ugly, and largely unavoidable to some extent, but you may be able to avoid it. Don't go thinking that the 25-year-old secretary at work thinks you're wonderful. You're not. You're fat, you're boring, you're old. Just move on and love the person that you're with.